3 days. 3 days is all the time Michael Carrick had to prepare his Manchester United side to face bitter rivals Manchester City. They've just gone and destroyed them, beating them by 2-0, but it could have been so much more. In this video, we're going to be taking a look at how they did it. We're going to be discussing and breaking down the tactics that Michael Carrick used to help his United side not only stop City, but also exploit them going back the other way. And we're going to be taking a look at those all-important goals that ultimately got Man United this derby victory. Manchester United were defensively superb in this game. City had over 600 passes, United 300, so you would be forgiven for thinking that City dominated this game, but it was actually far from it. It was quite the opposite, in fact. Erling Haaland had one of his worst displays. In fact, Manchester City had one of their worst attacking displays that we've seen in quite some time. Haaland was taken off the pitch and substituted with over 10 minutes left after only having 14 touches. This is all due to the fantastic structure and the tactics that Michael Carrick instilled within this United side. Initially starting with their 4-2-3-1, they quickly changed into a defensive 4-4-2 formation, having Bruno and Mbeumo next to each other, but really condensing the pitch, making themselves really narrow. 2 banks of 4, 2 in front, but it was the tactics in between that structure that really allowed United to come to the forefront in making themselves so narrow, in particular with the use of both Dorgu and Ahmad to really tuck inside. It prevented City from progressing through the centre, forcing them out wide. It was once they forced them out wide that United were then able to really start to contest those City wingers, but it was the real condensed nature of United's play that prevented City from playing through the middle and therefore finding their main man in Erling Haaland. And you can see that right here. Look at United's base. The back four really close together. Look at how inside Dalot and Shaw are. You've then got Ahmad and Dorgu tucking in field. You've then got also the front strikers making sure that it's really nice and narrow, and the distance between the defensive line and the offensive line is not too great at all. A really good defensive shape from this United side. This defensive structure, in conjunction with United's impressive aggression, meant that City weren't able to play through this United side. And what it meant is that Foden and Silva weren't able to find those half spaces. Normally they would want to link with either their wingers or even their main striker in Erling Haaland if they were to make runs off the back of United's back line. But due to the condensed nature of this United structure, they just weren't able to find any space. So if the ball even didn't go into one of these attacking midfielders, it had to be recycled back out towards their defensive line, which meant that City had to look to progress out wide. And it's these wide areas that United also had a plan for. The tactical adaptations that Michael Carrick has instilled within this United side was something that really did catch the eye of a lot of people. In particular, the way they utilised their wingers to help their defensive back line. And what I'm talking about is Dorgu and Ahmad. Depending on the side that City wanted to progress their attacks, Ahmad or Dorgu would tuck in next to their respective fullback and help with the progression down that one side. So for example, if the likes of Man City and Doku would progress down that left-hand side, the right-hand side for United, Ahmad would tuck in to really make that a numerical equality. This meant that Dalot was able to push himself onto Silva, Maguire and Martinez would share the responsibility onto Haaland, and Shaw would be on Semenyo. There wasn't a free player. Mane would follow onto Foden, and it meant that there just wasn't an option for these Man City players to create an overload. They were matched, and then once the ball then recycled back, you saw Ahmad return to his same normal position. But this also freed up Casemiro to start to find those spaces, read the game like he does so very well, and pick his moments to prevent those passing lanes. It was through this that United were able to turn over the ball and then create their own devastating attacks. And this is exactly what I'm talking about. This highlights United's defensive structure, but also their tactical adaptation really well. So here you've got them in their 4-4-2. You can see it really clearly right here, but notice how condensed they are. Look at the difference between the defensive line and the offensive line. There isn't a lot of space at all. City currently have the ball on their right-hand side. We're going to take note of that, but we're also going to follow Ahmad. He's closest to you here on United's right-hand side. Just keep an eye on him, because once City start to progress forwards, look at that. He's tucking in towards that right-hand side, meaning that he's following Doku. This allows and almost releases Dalot to follow City's attacking midfielder in Bernardo Silva. You've got Mainu on to Foden right there, so he's marked, and you've got Maguire and Martinez being able to look after Erling Haaland. It prevents City from finding that extra man, so even if the ball does go down this United right-hand side, which it does, you've needed Doku to then recycle back towards Ake. Notice something else as well. Look at Bernardo Silva and look at that box around him. Unable to pass to, unable to get the ball to him. You've got Mainu still following Foden. It was defensively superb and prevented Manchester City from getting anywhere near the United goal. It was brilliant. Going forwards, United were devastating, destroying City time after time again. To do this, they exploited City's defensive protocols, in particular looking at the high line that City would play when they would look to press the ball, in particular due to United's building phase and the way that they wanted to play forwards. The space left in beyond was something that was so enticing to these United forwards they couldn't pass it up, which meant they needed to take advantage. When looking to build up, you had Bruno and Mbeumo be key players in dropping into the space near to the midfielders and using a lot of good rotation with these wide players in conjunction with their ability to run in beyond into space. United began to find passes with each other, in particular through midfield, through that spare man and into those forwards. The rotation between Bruno and Mbeumo, Ahmad and Dorgu was sensational, and the runs off the ball meant that City were continuously having to run back towards their own goal. It was through this United were able to carve through not one, not two, but three major opportunities that were unfortunately for them ruled out due to offside. It was a real trend throughout this game, and United never stopped. They were, as I said, devastating. And this is just one of the many examples that really does showcase the great United interplay that they provided in this game against City. Casemiro has picked up the ball from the defence and he's looking up. Look at the movement from Bruno Fernandes coming towards the wide area. In doing that, what you're now going to see is him passing into Mbeumo. Mbeumo is going to see the run of Bruno Fernandes, but at the same time, look at that. You've got Ahmad making a darting diagonal run in beyond the centre-back that Mbeumo has dragged down. It's this rotation that's absolutely key, but it's also a key principle of the United of old. The running into space, the pace in the play, and the real dynamism with the way they create attacks and go forwards. This destroyed City and broke them apart time after time again. So once the ball goes into Bruno Fernandes, you've now got that City line being exposed. Of course, it gets ruled out for offside, but it's so very close. United have done this in this game time after time again. You've also got Dorgu on the far side just off your picture, but the pass into Ahmad is brilliant, and he could have made it a goal, but it's unfortunately for them offside, but they carved through City like butter. And it's using those same attacking principles that actually gets United their first goal. It starts from a Manchester City free kick. As the ball gets whipped in, it gets won by Harry Maguire, and just notice those two players on the edge of the United penalty area. It falls to Mbeumo, and then it's about this touch right here. This is sensational. Not only does it take it away from a Manchester City defensive body, but it enables that transitional moment. Look at Ahmad and look at Bruno. This transitions really quickly into a devastating attack. It's about taking the space and driving forwards. This is what United of old was all about. It's about transitional play, taking the moment, power, pace, drive. This all happened in this moment. You've got a 4-on-2 here. It is devastating. Carving through Manchester City, taking that space, driving forwards, and then it's all about whether they're able to create a moment, create that opportunity. Mbeumo makes an in-to-out run, and that creates that little bit of space for him to receive the pass from Bruno, and then it's about Mbeumo's finish. Because of the great weight of pass from Bruno Fernandes, it means that Mbeumo doesn't need to take a touch. He shifts himself around the ball and then takes a shot and fires it into the bottom right hand corner. It's a sensational goal, and it looks like United of old. United dominated City from start to finish. They destroyed them. But let me just give you an illustration as to how badly they dominated this game and how much they deserved to win. So United actually only had 32% possession in comparison to City's 68%. That is the only metric, or one of the only metrics, that actually shows City in the ascendancy. But it's about what they did with that possession. And the answer is basically nothing, because what that got converted into was 2.27 XG for United. They could have had 5 goals, genuinely, in comparison to City's 0.45, and that 0.45 comes from the fact that they only managed 1 shot on target. United had 7 shots on target out of their 11. City had 7 shots with only 1 on target. That is abysmal for a Pep Guardiola side, and that got changed into 6 big chances. City didn't have 1. It's incredible, the domination that this United side had over Manchester City. And finally, one of the main reasons behind that were the duels. United won 54% of their duels in comparison to City's 46%. Duels were everything. The willingness to beat your opposite number, to be able to get to the ball first, to be able to get into that space. It was everything for this United side in this game, and it really showed. And the result was just a mere reflection of the domination that United had in this game. United's second and final goal really was the culmination of everything that we've discussed here. It's all about drive, it's all about duels, winning your individual battles, and this is a really clear example. Ahmad has the ball here currently. You've got Cunha, who's come on for Mbermo, move over to this right-hand side to help him progress. Remember, he's the striker. But as he gets the ball, he's got an individual battle with Nico O'Reilly. It's about who wants it more. He drives down this right-hand side, again, something that you find synonymous with Manchester United. Wingers driving down, finding that space and getting crosses in. That's exactly what he does. But just notice the movement of Patrick Dorgu behind Rico Lewis right here. He's actually in the right spot, Lewis is, but look at Dorgu's determination in just a moment. The ball gets crossed in and he gets ahead of his man. Dorgu does. It's brilliant, powerful, strong, dynamic. Dorgu, I thought, was absolutely fantastic, as was every United player, but him in particular was brilliant down that left-hand side. Dynamic, powerful, pacey, and he gets to the ball first. It's a brilliant finish. Just look at this. He gets ahead of his opposite number and it's just brilliant. Fantastic finish, and United get their second. Thoroughly deserved. As I said previously, it could have been 5. It was a sensational win for them. But of course, guys, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. What did you make of Michael Carrick's first game? What did you make of Manchester United? What did you make of Manchester City and the Manchester derby as a whole? I'd love to hear from you, so please do get involved. Let me know your thoughts. Thank you ever so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you learned something new, and I hope to see you in the next one. But until then, my friends, take care.